Hello, everybody. My name is Lisa Lamont, and I'm your hostess of Ladies Get Your Prance On. And we have a darling prancing kitten in the house, Ally Loprete. Did I say your last name correct?
You did, which is like rare. People say everything else but Loprete. Yeah, like concrete.
Loprete. Is it a French? Is it a French?
It's actually Italian. Loprete, like concrete, but it means the priest. Ironic, since I'm Jewish, you know that. But my husband is Catholic, so it's like Loprete. Like that's the Italian version.
Loprete
is the American version. Yeah.
I love it. You know, the thing that people may not know about this, I asked you to be on my show. I think it was 4 or 5 years ago when I was doing a podcast.
I almost forgot.
And I had technical difficulties and we weren't able to have you on the show. And here you were. I mean, I had been worshiping and admiring you for years with your My Milk Money, your show that you had. So can you talk about what you were doing back when we first met, and then all this process to get here today, because you are like a butterfly morphing into a new species right now.
You know, it's really kind of like cyclical. Like there's this whole cycle. Like I don't even know. I can't even believe it myself, like where I've ended up, but it's all kind of come full circle. I'm going to back up even past our Milk Money. I came to LA, like stars in my eyes, young 20s, and I wanted to be a movie star. Right. And I have like a theater degree in my hand, and I sang, and I wanted to be on Broadway. Like I was like every other person in LA. And I really, really worked hard at my career for like, I don't know, I want to say I gave it like 12 years, which I outlasted a lot of people. And I was never very successful. I was incredibly insecure. I was so desperate. I mean, like it was written all over me. And my husband and I decided that we wanted to grow up. You know, it was time to grow up and get real careers. And he now works in the industry. And I got pregnant and became a stay-at-home mom, and I became super passionate. There's people that are passionate about kids, and that's wonderful, but yes. I became passionate about moms. I really felt like moms were getting a bad rap. We were being scrutinized. There was no more village. Nobody was supporting us. We weren't supporting each other. And so I created ourmilkmoney.com. That skyrocketed. And then my podcast, This Little Parent Stayed Home, took off. I started off with like 80 people listening and ended up with like 6 million listeners on iHeartRadio.
I know. I was one of those listeners too.
Is that how we met?
That's how we met. I first heard you on the podcast, and I just reached out to you. I said, I've got to get to know you because I loved your passion for helping moms.
And I still really am that way. But what was so great is that throughout that, I got to meet so many fantastic people like you, people who are really passionate about really giving back and really looking for, like what is life about, and self-development, and how can we improve upon ourselves in this lifetime. And, and I really got, I was so blessed with the kind of people that came on my show, and I got to interview, like John Gray and, Lisa, Marie Diamond, and, some really fascinating people, great big names. And so full circle, we're talking about full circle and what I'm doing now. I'm doing a new show now called Dramatic Impact. And I've actually gone back to the entertainment industry because I realized that if I had known all of this stuff, years ago, I would have had a much better acting career. And it's amazing to me how many actors are, it's an industry that can really break your spirit if you let it. And so I'm taking all of this knowledge that I learned in the last like 10, 15 years on, in self-development and the quantum physics field, and, really learning how we can apply our vibrational energy and how it works and the whole scientific basic for that. Yep. And taking that and applying it to the entertainment industry, because now I know how I can help actors, how I can really help these people who really want to make a difference, and they really want to give back to society in some way. It's not just ego. I mean, I know it looks like it a lot, but I feel like I've got the special sauce and the ingredients that can be applied to any industry. So I'm going back to my roots, and that's what I'm doing now.
I love it. And your voice, for people, well, they can hear your voice now on the show, but you just have this magical radio voice too. I mean, your voice, you have like this positive energy, and so people now get to see you. I love that the media is changing over to video so they can get to see the energy behind the voice. But it
Well,
has
you know what? I'm not as comfortable in front of the camera as I am behind the microphone, and I'm looking forward to the day that I am, because I am doing more video now. But you know, I use my background in my theater training for, you know, radio. It's, you know, there's a musicality. I mean, it's not just that I was born with this talent. I mean, there really is a musicality to using the full range of your voice to soothe people and get your message across.
Yeah. And you're the expert at that too. So people who may not know who you are, there's a few people, maybe just a few people who may not know. I mean, they're seeing this bubbly positive. They're like, oh, she's this, you know, little Miss Sunshine, which you are. I mean, you are, but you've had your challenges. I mean, over the years, the industry that you're in is really tough, and you had me not too long ago on your show, and we talked about depression, because you and I both, you know, we both deal with depression, and it's hard for people to understand when they think of us as this, we support everybody and lift each other up and we're cheerleaders of everybody. But you had me on the show and we talked about depression. Where are you at today since you had me on your show?
I'm doing great. I'm in the space right now where I can look back, you know, everything in retrospect. You know,
Yes.
At the time it was miserable. I mean, really, I was so depressed. I mean, I'll be honest. I wanted to die. I was suicidal. I'm not really capable of self-inflicting harm. You know, which is a positive. But
Yeah.
I was in that space just about a year ago where I wanted it to end. I couldn't stop, and I kept trying. It's not like I wasn't trying. I was looking for help. I was, you know, going to friends, and I was getting energy healing. You made me this beautiful like meditation, and all of my usual tricks were not working. Yeah. And that's when you're sick. I mean, that's the illness. And I remember saying to my husband, these thoughts are not even mine anymore. Yeah. I keep trying to get better, and I would get better for like 5 minutes. I'd feel better. Like I would do all of my, you know, positive, like I'd go work out and I'd sing, and all of these things would help. But ultimately, I would end up just super depressed again in just a few minutes. And I knew it really is kind of like you have a cold, right? And you can homeopathic remedies, you can drink your hot tea, and you can do your echinacea. And if your immune system is really strong, you'll get better like within a day, right? Yeah. But when your immune system is really down, you might feel better for a little bit, but then you wake up and you've got that head cold again. And it gets to be a point where you go, you know what? It's time for me to go get antibiotics.
Yeah, definitely. I love that analogy. I love that analogy. And I don't want to dwell, but I want people to know that when people see somebody like you who is very well known, and I mean, California, everybody knows you in California. It's important for women to know that they're not alone in the way of thinking, that, you know, it's okay to get help. It's just like, it's like a thing that we don't want to talk about. And what I love about you is that you will share right on Facebook. It's just like, you know, I want to share this because I want people to know they're not alone. I mean, women, we go through these personal things and we feel we can't share, though. You know, whether someone's been cheated on by a husband, they're ashamed of that, or somebody's been fired from a job, or they're not happy with their body image and they feel that they're alone. I mean, you're an advocate for being out there and just saying, hey, this is what's going on.
Well, you know, it's really hard to actually share those things while they're happening, because I remember thinking, like, I want to reach out and I want to talk about this, but I'm depressing now. Like, I didn't want to bring anybody down. You know, I was really exuding this awful energy, and I felt it, and I didn't want to put that out there. But as soon as I was in recovery, yes, I knew that people needed to hear where that I actually broke out of that dark hole, something I didn't know I could do. I had really given up. I mean, I had tried and I'd given up, but, you know, going back to where I am now, and in retrospect, now I can actually look back at that dark time in my life, and how much pain I was in, and how I didn't feel like there was an escape, and I can actually see the purpose of it. And so I don't even dislike depression. I actually really, I mean, it sounds really weird. It sounds like woo-woo weird that I could even be grateful for such a dark time, but I now see that it's who I am, and it's an experience that I was supposed to go through, because I have saved lives, and I didn't set out to save lives, but I've had people that in the middle of the night will text me and say, I didn't know where to go. My best friend is like, she wants to die. And I will be like, yeah, put her on the phone. I know how to speak her language. You know, and I've had like at least 20 people since then have reached out to me because they didn't know where else to turn. I'm not a psychologist, but I do know how to speak that language. I do know how to remove the shame from the depression, because there's, you know, shame and depression aren't necessarily mutually exclusive. You know, you don't have to feel shame when you're feeling down. And I didn't feel shame. I just felt like I was in pain and I needed it to stop. And so I know how to talk to people into really getting the kind of help that they need, and not being ashamed if you need to get on medication, if you need to go to a psychiatrist. A lot of my friends have. I am now weaning off my antidepressants, but they saved my life. And I was one of those people who was really like, no way, I don't need them. I can do this myself. And, you know, a lot of times we can do it ourselves. A lot of times we can manage our mental state. But you are prone to depression. It's like being, you know, it's like if you get, it's like, what do you call it? I'm like losing my mind here. It's like, you know, there's always going to be one more episode. Like I'm probably going to be depressed again at some point in my life, but if with any luck, it'll be another 8 years before I have a breakdown.
Definitely. You know? But you know that you're not alone. I think that's a message. Recently on Facebook, you've been talking about another personal journey that you're on. Do you want to share that? Because
I wish I could lift up my shirt and show you my I have my whole life been a very full-chested woman, and you know, I share everything. I was a triple G, and I had been wanting a reduction for a long time, and it was really, you know, hurting my neck and my shoulders. And so I got it covered by insurance. I couldn't believe that. I literally paid a $20 copay the morning of my surgery. But I just went through this surgery. I'm 43 years old, and the strangest thing is that I'm like living in somebody else's body now. I mean, it's amazing how much my chest was part of my like big personality. And I felt like I was almost cutting off a piece of my identity. As much as I couldn't wait to live in a more comfortable body. It was really a major, you know, transformation, metamorphosis. And I had to have a long talk with myself about who I am and what my identity is, and that it's not my physical body. And, you know, when I first started shopping again, you know, I realized that nothing in my closet really looks right anymore. I thought it would all look better, but it doesn't really
doesn't lay the same way. No.
Yeah, it's a little bit, you know, because now suddenly I used to see it like a shelf of a chest, and now I look down, I'm like, oh, there's a belly I didn't know I had, you know. And so you just, you know, everybody has a different shape, and you learn how to dress for it. And, you know, and even though my shape was really hard to find, I knew it and I was comfortable in it. And I had like this like mini meltdown, and I was shopping for new clothes, and I went, I have no idea what to, you know, what I'm looking for. I don't know what to gravitate towards because I don't know my shape. And I almost started crying. I was just like, this is awful. Whose body is this? And it was another one of those moments that I'll look back at forever as just such a defining moment for me, that I just kind of surrendered. Surrender's been my big word lately. That I just surrendered to the fear. I trusted that I was being taken care of. I went to a rack of things that I never would ever think would look good on me. Started trying them on, and all of a sudden realized that, you know, it wasn't about, you know, how we shape our bodies. It's just loving whatever, you know, box we've come in. And, you know, it's been a real transformation process. And again, not just my physical self, but, you know, really getting in tune with who I am and my identity. And, you know, it was never about the big boobs. It was always just about my big personality. Right?
My girlfriend had the same surgery done when she was 50. And she said that if her 50-year-old self could talk to her 30-year-old self, she would have done it years earlier. And she is so glad. She said, she goes, when I see women who wish they had big breasts, she goes, I just want to take them aside and say, are you kidding me? She goes, I can wear button-up shirts because you don't understand that she goes, people who don't have
I can
these
wear bathing suits now. I can wear
Yep.
tube tops. I'm wearing a tube top now. I'm like, I'm braless. I never had that kind of comfort before. I just went for a run and I can't believe how easy it is. Like I'm not carrying around this big amount of weight. And it really wasn't just about my physical self, because I'd really grown to love my shape and my body, and it's not perfect, and it's rounder than I'd like, but this was this was a transformation I needed because my body was breaking down from the weight that I was carrying. So I'm really glad I did it. But I mean, nobody really talks about the psychological component of what you go through.
They don't. I also have a friend who had she had health problems. She had implants, and I'm not an advocate, to have, it's each for their own, but she had hers removed because of health issues. She was having medical, and they tied it to implants, and she's having trouble adjusting to, because her identity, she got so much attention with them too. So, you've got the factors, but I love that I'm seeing more of Hollywood go towards women with a less busty chest. Have you noticed that on television and movies?
So much is happening for women. I mean, let's just talk about that right now.
Let's talk about women.
I'm so proud of what we're becoming. Like it's amazing because you and I had talked about when the election happened, we had talked about our shock because we felt this feminine energy coming in. You and I weren't the only ones talking about it. There was all of these experts, all of these energy experts, quantum physics. Everybody was saying the feminine shift, and we all were expecting it to show up in the form of a female leader, and that didn't happen. It almost happened like the absolute opposite counterpart, right? And but what's amazing is that if you look around at the shift, the global shift of feminism and feminine energy and feminine power, not just for women but for men as well, it's happening more than I ever could have expected it, and it's happening a lot more than it would have happened had we had a female leader. And I have to say that I'm no longer angry, and I'm no longer afraid at the turn of events. I am so proud to see what's happening. I'm so excited. And it really is showing up in ways like you're talking about, where people are just owning who they are, and it's genderless in a way.
It is. Yeah, it's a big wake-up call for us too, because I think this last election, with two very different personality types running for president, and we don't need to get into the politics, but we've really been kind of going on the good old boys way, and we had to have a shakeup. I mean, even the current president isn't a regular good old boy. I mean, he's in his own little world, right? And so we're woken up now.
Well, and this kind of even goes back, it kind of ties back to even my depression. When you start to see all of these adverse situations showing up, these things that they really rock us to our core, and they make us question everything. They really rock our faith, and our spirit becomes broken. Then once we get into the space that we're in, like the space that I'm in now, I can look back and go, oh, this has such purpose. This has such meaning. It's so funny. My parents always said, I remember them asking me, what decade would you most want to be a part of? And I remember saying I wanted to be a part of the 60s, like how great would that have been? That was such an explosion of art and music, and it was like the Renaissance, the new Renaissance, and, feminism was big then, lots of different, civil rights. There were so many great things that were happening during that time. And my parents went, are you crazy? That was the worst time. We were terrified. There was the H-bomb was out there. Everybody was, our president was shot. Martin Luther King was shot. John Lennon. Like there were all of these horrible things that were happening. And I only see it as this boom, this explosion of when the world really started coming into its own. And I kind of feel like that's what's happening now, that it's really scary to be in it right now. But if you can just sort of fast forward like 10, 15 years from now and look back at where we are, you can tell that this is going to be the Renaissance for us. Whatever's happening right now, people are going to be talking about. This is going in the history books, and we're a part of it. And so it's kind of exciting, even though it's scary, kind of exciting.
So I want to talk to you. You mentioned early on that you're Jewish, and so what does that mean for you in the business that you're in, and to educate other people? What would you like to say about that?
Well, I didn't like being Jewish growing up because, Jews are not, we're made fun of. We're the awkward kids, and we're also the kids that don't really know what we believe in. I mean, I remember going to my rabbi and being like, well, everybody seems to know, like they believe in God, they believe in Jesus, like they know where they're going when they die. And I don't know am I supposed to know? And, the Jewish religion, they tend to answer questions with more questions. Like if I say, does God exist? The rabbi will say, I don't know. What do you think? Like you'd never really get any answers. And I was really frustrated with that growing up. But now that I'm an adult, I'm really proud of that upbringing, because if it weren't for that upbringing, I wouldn't have been skeptical. I wouldn't have asked a lot of questions. I wouldn't have known how to keep searching and be okay with not getting answers. And what I realized is that as a religion, it's actually the most agnostic religion there is. That they full out admit that we'd like to believe in God, but we don't really know. It's possible that he's there. It's possible that he's not there. And so we keep asking questions, and that's how we evolve as a society and as a human race. And even though we might not get a lot of our questions answered in this lifetime, what we do get answered, we pass down to our children. That's the evolution that the Jewish faith really believes in. So it's not that I don't have spirituality, and it's not that I don't have belief, but my belief is it's okay to doubt, and it's not a sin to doubt, and we actually have a responsibility to keep searching and to keep asking questions. Yeah. And I am incredibly grateful, because if I hadn't done that, if I hadn't been raised that way, I wouldn't have found my deep core spiritual beliefs, which have really made me who I am right now.
It is, and I love that you're open to talking about that. I grew up as a Lutheran, and very fundamental, and I was raised with the wrath of God. I was scared. I was terrified of God, and I tell people, that I support and honor everyone's beliefs. Whatever your belief, if you believe in Buddha, flying dragon, more power to you. It's just like, it doesn't matter. But I tell people, my God is love. My God is not fear-based. My God is love-based. And what that looks like to other people, is that a male energy, a female energy, an animal energy? I'm like you. I question everything, because I know that religion and politics divide people. And I started the Prancing Kitten group because that's off topic.
Don't talk about it.
It divides women. We have too many things that divide us, and we should be supporting. I mean, we should have someone's back when a woman, the thing recently on Fox News with Bill O'Reilly stepping down, about damn time, right? It's like women are not taken seriously on allegations, and everyone's going to believe the star. And I really want to see women supporting the women who come out and are brave enough to take on. Can you imagine?
People are telling their stories now,
yes.
And these are stories that they buried deep, that they never expected to come out publicly and say. But and there's a big handful of women that are not, I don't want to put my energy on that, but there's a big handful of women who are still in denial about that, and they still see the feminine movement as like we're taking advantage of every sexual advance, and that's not really the case. I mean, what's really coming out now is how hard it's been and how much we've buried these stories. And I was just talking to my husband about how many sexual advances I used to have in the workplace, and I didn't do anything about it because I wanted to keep my job.
Yep, same here.
Right? And it's amazing how much, when I look back at how much I put up with, and there were a few times where it really went over the line, and I had to go to an attorney and say, do I have a case here? This is ridiculous. Yeah. I can't, I'm terrified to go into work without getting my butt grabbed. And, I remember the attorney saying, we can't win this case. Like, it's a very hard case to win because it's he said, she said.
Yep.
And what's going to come out is you've been putting up with it for 3 months and flirting back. And, you know, I did flirt back. Why? Because it was my boss, and I couldn't lose another job. Yes. And I was putting up with it because I just didn't want to make a big deal about it. And it got worse and worse. And so there's a lot of these stories that are perpetuating these misconceptions that women are just, you know, here right now to punish men. And that's not really the case. We're owning our stance, and we're owning our, you know, we're honoring who we are. Yep. And we're saying no more, you know, we're not gonna allow this to happen. We're gonna fight back. And people are sharing stories, and we're really embracing it, and we're letting these stories be told in a very safe space. And that's what I'm talking about. That's that feminine shift that wouldn't it happen unless we had this, you know, beast for a leader in the White House.
Well, I mean, you've been so courageous because you've been an open book about your feelings. I mean, it isn't anything to hide. It's just like if you ran for president, there's nothing to come out of the closet on you, because it's like they're going to
you stay ahead of the story. Yeah,
they're going to be like digging, going, we can't find anything on her. Well, she did this. She already talked about it. I mean, there is this absolute, you know, it's just.
I'm a truth seeker. And I've always felt that, you know, I would rather tell the truth, even if it hurts you, than to tell a lie to protect you and have it come out later. And I have the same philosophy with my husband and with my kids. You know, I probably tell my kids way too much. I mean, there's people that have said, you told your kids about your depression. You told your kids that you wanted to die. I mean, you know, like, they knew about my transformation, but the way that I see it is they have every right to experience their life and the adversity of life, and of watching, you know, not only me, but, you know, go through a dark time, but they saw me get help. They saw me actually, you know, go to the next level. And I want them to see that that's possible. So I think it's important that no matter what, we tell the truth. Yes. Always. It's just a better philosophy. You know, it's always better to tell the truth, no matter how much it hurts.
Well, and your children saw what was going on. They saw mom wasn't being mom, you know. And so they're going to think they're doing something wrong. So when you tell the truth that, you know, mom's going to depression, mom did have these feelings, but mom got help. What is wrong with that? I mean, this is empowering your child so that if he feels any of those feelings coming on, because sometimes that stuff can be hereditary, he's going to be able to come to you and say, Mom, I'm having these thoughts and these feelings, versus thinking there's something wrong with him. I mean, so, you know.
Right. And and I know that we have like this inclination to want to protect our kids, and we don't want them to experience, you know, really heartbreak and terrible times. And gosh, I would love for them to not grow up in a world where there's shootings. I would love for them to grow up not being worried about these things. But the truth is, I'd rather have them be prepared, because this is the world, you know, and these are the things that are there. And I am going to talk to them about it, because it's much better for them to hear it from me than for them to hear it out there and to resent me for not being the first one to talk to them about it. Yes. So again, it's, you know, and I kind of almost feel like that's also kind of happening, that as a people, we're saying to our government, you can't hold us in the dark anymore. We need the truth. We don't care if it's hard to hear and it's hard to stomach. We're adults and we're grown-ups, and we need to be able to hear the truth and be able to process it however which way we need to.
Well, and as a mother, you know, when my kids, because, you know, I have a grandson that's 14, so I'm a generation ahead of you, and I didn't have to worry about foods like cereal, like everything was fine to eat. But now as a parent, I mean, this Monsanto and GMOs, I mean, this is scary stuff. And you as an advocate of wanting, we need to know the truth. You know, all these things, we have to stay vigilant and stay on top of these companies that are just trying to make money off of us.
So true. And it's really upsetting when you find out we've been lied to. Yeah. I mean, I think to me, that is the worst thing in the world is that trust, you know, that mistrust. It's it's like, it makes you just want to go out and just, you know, grow your own food if you can. I mean, some people don't have yards, you know, you can't just grow your own food, but, you know, we put our faith in these companies that if it's on the shelf, that it's not going to be toxic, you know, and we put our faith in them. And it's very upsetting to hear that they don't care, that, you know, and I understand that they justify it. I mean, I always see the other side of it, that these big companies, we say, oh, it's, you know, it's the bottom line is money. But, you know, I do see that they justify that as if business is doing well, then the economy is doing well, and that trickles down, and that means the country's doing well. So I do see their justification in that. But we've created this monster and this beast, and it's you know, it kind of goes back to, you know, at what cost do we create a good economy? And really, is that the most important thing? And I think that that's really where politics has, I don't mean to get back into it, but that's where the division happened, that that one party said, you know what, the economy is important, but it's not the most important thing. And the other one said, well, we only care about the economy. If we have a good economy, then that means everybody's happy and all the social issues will just, you know, by default get better. And we said, you know what? We think the social issues are more important. If everybody is happy, we're all more productive, and that's going to build a good economy. Yep. So it's just a different school of thought. It's not necessarily that one is more right than the other one, or one is more evil than the other one, I should say. And that's really where I feel like we don't have to be so divided, because we all really do want the same things. We want to feel safe in our own country. We want to flourish. We want to have opportunity to grow without a ceiling. We want to be able to, you know, have opportunity regardless of the color of our skin, or, you know, who we pray to, or who we love, you know, or any disability that we might have. You know, everybody really wants those things, and we don't want to feel like we are we're being, you know, put down by any one party that feels superior to us. Yes. So that's really the bottom line. And when we start treating people the way it's the golden rule, you know, you treat people the way you want to be treated. You know, when accepting of someone who's really going through a struggle, you know, it empowers you, because you know that that's how you'd like to be treated. Right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I cannot believe that our time is ready. We're wrapping up our we have to have you back for a segment. So what do you have going on right now in your life? How can people find you? What's up with what's on your agenda?
Oh, okay, a couple of things. I'm actually kind of rebranding everything right now. I'm still there advocating for parents, so I'm still coaching, but This Little Parent is still online, thislittleparent.com, but I'm not doing any new episodes on that right now. There's like 400 episodes on iHeartRadio that you can find. Right now, I'm really bringing my school of thought, positive energy to the entertainment industry, especially because of what's happening in the world now. I feel like it really is up to the artists to start, you know, telling these stories and doing it in a way that will all bring us together. So right now, my agenda is really to empower the creative people, the musicians, the screenwriters, and the actors, and you know, and I love those people anyway. Like I'm just, my heart is with them. And I also have a book coming out in a couple of months, which, speaking of cheerleader,
I know
it's, you know, it's You Got This. It's called You Got This, you know, and it's not just me being a cheerleader for you. It's really giving you the tools to learn how to be your own cheerleader, and how to get, you know, how to pick yourself up when you have just been knocked down again and again. And, you know, and really, you know, how to use all those adverse moments and start to kind of appreciate them for what purpose they have in your life. Everything has a purpose, everything.
Definitely.
So I'm really looking forward to, you know, connecting with new people across, you know, the planet with this school of thought. And it really is, I mean, if we can stay positive in a time like this, and I really am, I'm feeling good and I'm feeling really positive, even though I see all these terrible things happening, I still I'm 2 steps ahead. And it's a really good place to be in, just knowing that we're all going to be okay, you know?
And we definitely, so where's the best place for people to find you?
I'm probably the best place is my website, allyloprete.com. I have a couple more. I mean, thislittleparent.com is still up, and Dramatic Impact with Ally is also my newest site, and that's you know, that's my new show. That's also on iHeart. You can listen, but it's live streamed. So I have a studio, and I'm interviewing lots of celebrities and you know, people that just want to give back, people that are doing well in the entertainment industry, but they want to give back to people who are brand new and struggling.
I love it. And I'm also I'll attach those links to the show. Who is your favorite entertainer that you either met or interviewed? And top two.
Well, I've been interviewing mostly people that I know. Gosh, I'm gonna say two people, my two friends of mine. One is Jillian Armanante. What a story she has, and she's somebody who just never gave up on her career. She doesn't look so Hollywood, but she's super talented, and she just kept going. She did not hear the rejection and did not hear the word no. And I'm not saying her spirit wasn't broken, but she just kept plugging away, and thank goodness she did, because she's done some pretty incredible work out there. Yeah. And then my other friend who I just spent the day with yesterday, Darlene Hunt, who originally she won an Emmy for her work in creating and writing the C word, or the Big C. It's called the Big C. Showtime. Yes. She was also the showrunner for Good Girls Revolt, which is also sort of representative of of women, and kind of breaking past barriers and not letting anything derail us. And that show has a huge cult following, and it's just of course it does. I mean, it's a perfect time for it. But those are people that I've just interviewed lately that I'm really inspired by, and they're friends of mine, and I've loved watching their careers flourish. They started where I did, as a struggling poor actor, and they now they're professionals. It's great.
It has just been my pleasure having you on the show today, and I know you have a busy schedule being mom and your son. So what are both your sons doing? What are some of their activities that?
Oh gosh, Braden is so good at everything that he's almost we're worried, because he doesn't know how to actually, we're trying to get him to actually apply himself and have some ambition, but he's he plays baseball, and he's such an entertainer. He's so charming, and he now wants to play the drums. My other son, my younger one, he is a competitive cheerleader, and he's darling, and he's the only boy on his all-girl team, and he doesn't seem to notice. And it's really amazing, because it's like the roles are reversed. Like I'll hear, the coach refer to the group as like the girls, and I'll be there going, and the boy, like, don't be sexist. Yeah. It's reversed, because we don't think that men are being left out in any way. Yeah. Society, but it just kind of brings that to your attention. But he's super ambitious, and it's really fun to see how the little people they're becoming.
Well, and I've been watching. I follow when you have a video and stuff, and their cheer squad is really good. I mean, they're really good. I mean, they compete, and they do very, very well. So Ally, I know you've got to run. Once again, it's just been a pleasure having you, and I hope to have you back maybe after you have your book published, and we can talk about your book. I would love to have you back.
I will come back anytime. I'll give away copies. Like I would love that, Lisa. And I adore you, and you're one of my favorite people too. And you're one of the people that I always have felt, it doesn't matter, what space I'm in, whether I'm happy or I'm down, you're so loving and accepting, and thank you. Thank you for being here, for having me. I'm not going to get emotional. We're going to wrap it on a good note. Everybody, we will be back next week. And Ally, once again, thank you so much for taking time to be on the show. Thank you. Bye-bye, everyone.